Are these state-of-the-art flash drives? Let's find out. Dave Taylor here, and this time I'm looking at little things. These are flash drives from SanDisk, and they're really cool. There's two of them here. And they're very different, and they have different purposes, and they work differently. Let's start with this little guy. This little thing that's so small that I'm pretty sure you could just lose it and not notice. That's why I added this handy little carrier thing. They have the holes, but the little tiny lanyard is something I added myself just to try to help not lose it. But here's the thing, you see how big that is? That's 128 gigabytes of storage. And what makes it interesting is that on one end, it has USB-C, and then you slide it, and on the other end, it has USB 3.1, backwards compatible to 3.0 and 2.0 and so on. So what this means is this is a great way to store and back up data from an Android phone running USB-C, or as I have in my case, I have a MacBook Pro that has USB-C. So I slide it this way, I plug it in, and that's 128 gigabytes of extra storage. Now, it runs up to 150 megabits a second, actually megabytes a second. Let's have that as the number. So let's actually find out, right? I don't want to just quote their stats. Let's test this thing out. So I'm going to spin my computer on, and I'm going to plug this in, and we're going to copy a gigabyte file onto it, and then we're going to copy a gigabyte file off of it and back onto my computer. So let's see how fast that is. Okay, here's our 1.2 gigabyte data file, and here's the SanDisk. Open it up, and we're just going to copy this onto the flash drive, and let's see how long that takes. That's pretty fast, actually. No complaints about that with 1.2 gigabytes of data. And we're done. So now I'm going to rename it just to make sure we don't have any issues with caching or any weirdness in the file system. And we'll call it just new 1.2 gigabytes of data. And I'm going to copy this back onto the desktop. Now let's see how long that takes. So generally, reading is faster than writing, so this should actually happen faster. And that's a pretty speedy copy of over a gigabyte of data. Done. So that was pretty fast. Very nice. So this is a pretty nice device. So let's talk about its price for a second. But hey, before we get there, and remember, we haven't even talked about this guy yet. Before we get there, can I ask that you click on the subscribe button? Thank you, appreciate it. Now, this is the Ultra Dual Drive USB 3.1/USB-C, and I really like it. It's honestly, it's like almost too small. It's so small that, like I said, it's easy to lose it, which is why I just added this little lanyard, and I'm gonna actually put it on a keychain or something, because otherwise I'm gonna like pull out something out of my pocket or out of my computer bag, it's gonna fall and lose it. Not good. So the 16 gigabyte version of this is an extremely reasonable $15.90. The 32 gig is $19.85. The 64 gig is $26.44. And this one, the 128 gig, that is a lot of storage space. 128 gigabytes of storage with both USB connectors and everything, $43.79. That is a pretty sweet deal. So, Ultra Dual Drive. Now, let's look at this one, because this one might even be more interesting. This one, I'm going to really have to give you the close-up so you can see what's going on. This is the iXpand flash drive. And on one end, it's USB 3, not 3.1, so it's a tiny bit slower, USB 3, but the other end is this really funky lightning connector. And you'll see it's a bit bigger, obviously. It's sort of shaped like an old style key or something. But boy, is it cool. So let me show you what happens is you actually plug it into any iPhone or iOS device, and you have to, if you don't already have it and prompt you to install, you get something called the iXpand Drive app. And that's a free app, and that actually manages all of this. It gives you automatic photo and video backup, and we'll check that out in just a second. And it lets you watch movies directly from this device in a variety of formats, including WMV, AVI, MKV, MP4, and MOV. So that covers a wide variety of video codecs. Now, the issue is you might have some hiccups with the audio codec. So there are lots of people saying that the software from SanDisk for this doesn't do such a good job with audio. So you could go to watch your favorite movie and suddenly it says audio not supported. In that case, there are a couple of third-party apps that can work with this and have all the codecs you can handle. Now, I would start with VLC, which is one of my favorites, but if that doesn't work, there's another program called Infuse that a lot of people really like. Another cool thing you can do with the iXpand flash drive, you can encrypt the files you put on it. That's a good idea. But what I really love is I love this sort of automatic backup. So let's have a look at what happens when I plug this device directly into my phone. And you look at that weird device and that weird design and you say, what the heck's up with that? And it turns out that, as you can see here, it works even though my phone is in its case. So there's a lot of flexibility, which is really cool. So let's see, it's telling me what's new. Not super interesting. But here it's letting me automatically back up. How cool is that? Let's see, where can I back up? Turn on auto backup. So here, let's see. So let's go ahead and turn that on. Backup started. And it would like to access my photos, it would like to send me notifications. I know this isn't super exciting, but you can see here just a little bit, it's just chugging along. Now I have a lot on my phone. I have thousands of photos, I have hundreds of videos, and it's just gonna automatically backy uppy all of that onto this little device. So I really like that. Even if it had no other features, the idea that when I have this configured properly, I can do a local safe backup. I don't have to worry about what happens if iCloud crashes. Where are my backups? Who knows? I can do this as a nice redundant backup by just plugging it into my device and boom, it's actually chugging away, backing things up. In fact, you can see here on the top, backing up 124 of 1,354 photos. And it's chugging along at about 20 or 30 photos a second. So it's going to take a little while, but totally worth it. And of course, after the first time, you only back up incrementally. So really, it's a really great device. And here's what's really crazy is how big this one is. So we talked about this being 128 gig. This is a 256 gigabyte flash drive. And obviously with the USB, I can plug it into any computer, and now I have an easy way to transfer even vast amounts of data. So let's talk about pricing. So the iXpand flash drive comes in 4 different sizes. The smallest is 32 gig, and that runs $38.94. Then 64 gig is $53.78. 128 gig is $88.92. And then when you jump up to this bad boy, this 256 gigabyte flash drive, then it gets a little more spendy. This one's $191.29. But you know what? How much would you be willing to pay to recover those photos from your last vacation, or of your baby's first step, or of your business where your boss is presenting in front of a crowd for the first time? Those could be irreplaceable, and that kind of stuff is well worth the investment of getting a really nice, simple, elegant backup device. And as I've talked, we're about a third of the way through. I'm now backing up 425 of 1,354 photos. That's pretty nice. This is the iXpand flash drive with lightning connector. This is the SanDisk, they're both SanDisk, Ultra Dual Drive, and I like them both. They are both absolutely becoming part of my standard kit. This is Dave Taylor, and I'll catch you in my next video.